What's up, guys? Army-Firedawg back after a little bit. Time to give you the review of the Airist Audio Heron 5. That is the $2,000 desktop amp. It has been an amazing week with this thing. Both busy work week and enjoyment of the sounds. But let's just dive into it. As always, I like to start with the construction. So, the construction of it is absolutely top notch. It's built like a tank. It weighs like a tank, but I mean it's just very sternly built. It's primarily all aluminum with very little plastic, except for like here on the aux ports and perhaps here on the back on the panels. But very little plastic. It's pretty much all solid aluminum. On the front, you have a very sensitive volume button that gives you multiple finessed volume control options. Myself, I keep mine between 4 and 5 clicks. This thing has, and that's only at like the first maybe quarter. It's actually less than a quarter of what the thing puts out. So, for those of you who try this for the first time, be very wary. This thing has some bite to it. If you turn it up too loud, you're going to damage something. There's also 2 aux ports on the front. You have the high output one, and you have the low output. And also on the front, you have just a single power button option. Unfortunately, and it's one of the few downsides to this I have, and I'm actually quite disappointed in it, is it has no balanced output option. So for those of you who like the balanced headphones or, just that balanced sound, you can't enjoy this amp. It's only your standard 1/8 inch jack. So on the back, however, you have your RCA inputs, your left and right RCA inputs, and then you have left and right XLR inputs. So that could perhaps help you with the RCA, but I've never tried an XLR input, so I can't give any personal bias to that. There's also a very thick and shielded power cable, which I think would help quite a bit with like the cleaning up of the sound or without getting any kind of electrical interference. But that's about it for the construction. Very simplistic, which is why it's very simplistic, it's elegant, and it's professional looking. Have zero complaints with the construction of this, except for missing those balanced output ports. So let's jump into what really makes one care about what a $2,000 amp is going to be. So, does it sound like awe-inspiring, or was it very similar to what the current setup is, just maybe slightly better? Again, going to this price point, you're going to get what's called diminishing returns, which is you go up exponentially in the price point for only a very minute quality increase. When it comes to the Heron 5 by Airist Audio, oh my goodness, it was amazing sounding. It is so transparent. You just hear pure audio bliss. It's clean. It's so realistic. When I first got this in last week, it was a 77-hour work week when I got it. So I was exhausted. I just wanted to listen to music. I just wanted to just drift away. And then there that was sitting on my doorstep. So super excited to listen to it. So I had it plugged in. I had it ready after I finished my unboxing video. And I hesitated. What song would be the first one I chose to listen to experience what this has to give? I probably sat there for a good 2 minutes just like, what am I going to choose? But I ended up going with Pirates of the Caribbean, Flash Mob by Rhapsody Philharmonic. You've heard me talk about that song quite a bit. It is stunning to listen to. And it's a YouTube video. I have over 2,000 songs that are primarily lossless rips from CDs. But I chose a YouTube video because that song is just so beautifully done. It's so realistic. You're outside already. But this, the first note, your eyes just get forced closed by like an unearthly, just realistic force. And you're just sit back and you're taken to the experience more than I've ever heard. Now, granted, my primary headphones I listened to was my Sennheiser HD 650s. I've had these for over a year. I've plugged them into a many of amps. Ones I have or both have not reviewed. And never have I got that experience before. I mean, it really showed the scaling abilities of the 650s. I mean, just because these are $500 headphones, a $2,000 amp, those headphones can put up with that amp. I was greatly impressed with that. All of the vocals I heard were... It's very hard to describe an amp. Because with a headphone, you can get highs, lows, mids. But amps, they give power. Now, if I ever had a doubt that a headphone amp was only meant to make headphones louder, that was just so squashed with this guy. I mean, it is just breathtaking how clean everything sounded. I mean, it was... And also, one thing I regret is the best DAC I have, and it's a good DAC, is my own X1S. That's what I used. In fact, here's my setup. That's my setup right there. Got my own X1X using it as a DAC only. It does not function as a preamp, so you can turn this all the way up. It doesn't do anything. It's only a DAC at this setting. Obviously the Heron 5, my Sennheiser XG650s, and then I also used my Bowers & Wilkins P7s as well. And on that note, I will have another pretty dagnab irritating negative to it. On the high gain setting, I had zero faults. I just had nothing but audio euphoria. Like, there was one time I listened to this for 4 hours straight. It was almost late. Because you just lose track of time listening to it. It is that beautiful. But on the low gain setting, you still get the same audio euphoria when you're playing music. But on my P7s, they have a relatively low impedance for a dynamic driver headphone at 22 ohms. But still, for a headphone amp that boasts how silent and quiet it is, I should not hear as much hiss as I do. And I hear quite a bit from my P7s. In fact, I had to use my Ultimate Ears buffer jack to get rid of the hiss, which I think the buffer jack increases impedance probably by about 15 to 20 ohms. But still, for a headphone amp to boast how quiet it is, how just dead silent it is, no matter what your volume level, why the heck am I hearing hiss on such an expensive equipment? Now, I will refrain from grading it with my customs, because my customs are hypersensitive. They hiss a lot, like even with a buffer jack. You put my customs in that thing, and I can only turn the volume up like 2 notches. It's very irritating, and I was like really off put considering my own X1S dead silent. Even with my customs, I have nominal hiss without the buffer jack. Just nominal hiss with my customs. My Empire Ears 6 balance armature driver customs out of my own. Almost dead silence. When I have music going, it is dead silent. With the $2,000 own that boasts silence, I have hiss nonstop out of the customs. But again, I'll refrain from grading on that one, but I will leave that note in here for you all. But I have hiss with my P7s. So the low impedance port is relatively low. You're actually about midways up there, almost to the medium impedance headphones, which is about 75 ohms to 150. I consider low impedance 50 and below, because though that can be powered from a mobile device. But I mean, that's about all I can discuss about the sound on it. I mean, it's just pure beauty. Once you get the music playing and you're on a high impedance headphone, is euphoric. I mean, you can use whatever kind of awesome term you can, how it has bass extension. Yes, it tightens up your bass very impressively. You'd extend your highs. It's just euphoric. It's hard, I don't know, without blabbering on, it is just amazing. If ever you get the chance to be a part of the tour or listen to one yourself at an audio meet, I highly recommend you try the Heron 5 out. It is a wonderful sounding amp. And then to sum it up, it is a very expensive amp that, again, with a high impedance headphone, absolutely performs. Wonderfully performs. It is a powerhouse. So, very similar to the Liger, which is the breed between a tiger and a lion. They're beautiful. They're elegant. They're just majestic creatures. Very similar to the Heron 5. But if you approach them and you're not careful, you may get a bite that you ain't going to recover from, or your gear. This thing gets very, very loud. Now, on that note, there was never any kind of static or delay or messing up of the audio, which is a huge note. But that's actually it for the review of the Airist Audio Heron 5. This is by far my most expensive audio piece I was ever able to listen to. Unfortunately, I was unable to receive the Hi-Fi Man Edition X to pair with this. I was supposed to, but, I mean, you know, how it goes, guys. Life happens and delays happen. But, if you like the video, definitely hit that like button. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or you think there's something I missed you would like addressed about the Airist Audio Heron 5 or just the amps in general, hit me up in the comments, guys. I reply to everyone, and I love talking to y'all. Y'all are awesome people. I think I have some of the coolest subscribers I've met on here. I mean, you guys are truly interested in finding that piece that you enjoy, and I'm honored that you value my input and would like my opinion to help you find that piece of audio gear that works for you. Price irrelevant. And also, if you have any friends that might be looking for an amp or are unsure about what gear would work for them, hit the share button, tag me in, and show them the video. Maybe I can help them find something too. As always, my name's Army-Firedawg. It's been a pleasure, but most importantly, guys, stay safe.